Hello, this is a sample of the first chapter of my first book, The Blaze Soldier. The story is about a man named Harrow who loses everything, and then finds everything in a boy named Murtagh, who becomes his son. Murtagh sat on a bench in the guardroom, scowling at his numb hands tied in his lap. He shuffled them about, trying to make the cold feeling go away, wincing when the scrapes on his knuckles brushed his leg, which only made the bruise under his eye ache. Some time had passed, probably only a few minutes, but it felt like hours to the young boy. He tried to tug his wrists apart, imagining he could snap the ropes like the strong men in the books he loved, but his hands stayed stubbornly tied together. "Hey," the guard called, not looking up from the reports on his desk. "Knock it off, kid." Murtagh slumped back against the wall, still glaring at his hands. He'd known he would get in trouble as soon as he'd punched Silas in his stupid, big-nosed face, but he didn't care. He didn't care that Amos had pushed him into the wall for it. He hoped the stick he'd found left a big enough bruise on his cheek. He hoped Alicia's broken nose would make him think twice before ever trying to pin him to the ground again. "Scarface! Hey, Scarface!" Their taunts still echoed in Murtagh's head, making his ears burn. He didn't care. They deserved what they got. Footsteps on the weathered floorboards interrupted his thoughts. Murtagh didn't look up to see who it was, but stayed with his eyes glued to his hands. The footsteps stopped, and a voice called out, "Murtagh?" It was Harrow. Murtagh's face burned in shame. He could almost feel Harrow's anger burning the top of his head. He couldn't even hear what Harrow was saying to the guard as his own thoughts raced. "I'm going to be in so much trouble. He'll be furious with me. He'll—" A soft rap on the top of his head interrupted him. Finally, Murtagh looked up into Harrow's eyes. If he was furious, he was hiding it well. "Come on," Harrow said. With the knife in his hands, he cut the ropes on Murtagh's wrist. Then he grabbed Murtagh by the shoulders and steered him out onto the streets. They walked in silence a long while, until Harrow finally said, "Those kids were taunting you again, weren't they?" Murtagh didn't answer. Here it comes, he thought. He braced himself. Whatever happened next was going to be bad. "Just so you know," Harrow continued, "brawling is something I usually look down on, in most circumstances. I expect you to show more self-control in the future." Another few minutes of agonizing silence passed before he asked with a smile, "Did you win?" Murtagh was stopped in his tracks. "What?" "The fight. Did you win?" Now it was Murtagh's turn to smile. They barely knew what hit them. His smile got bigger. "And one of them, he was 2 whole heads taller than me." "Good," Harrow said with pride. "Let's hope you tackle your training tonight with just as much enthusiasm." Murtagh groaned. "Training? Tonight?" "Yes, training tonight. You didn't think you'd get out of it that easy, did you? You still have to be punished." He paused for a moment, a small grin flitting across his lips. "Officially?" "Yeah, I guess so." The rest of their walk home was spent in silence, but Murtagh wasn't scared. He'd have to do a few extra push-ups, maybe practice his footwork a little later than usual, but he could handle it. Harrow was proud of him. The thought alone brought a bounce to his step he hadn't felt in a long time.